Welcome to Wild Bearings Outdoors. I'm Sam Johnson.
And I'm Chris Sloan.
We're your Wild Bearings Outdoors host, where each episode we'll take you to one of our bucket list locations where the scenery's beautiful, the history's interesting, and the fly fishing amazing.
This episode, we're headed into the mountains of North Georgia to the legendary Soque River. This river is one of the most coveted and protected fly fishing destinations in the southeast, and home to some truly huge rainbow and brown trout, some getting as big as Nimitz-class aircraft carriers.
Wow, now that is big, Chris. And to make this episode even more interesting, we're inviting our friend and country music artist Chad Brock to come down from Nashville to fish the Soque with us. You probably remember Chad from his #1 hit song, Yes. Now he's back with a brand new talk show on the Country Network interviewing legendary country artists, plus special live performances on the all-new Chad Brock Show.
Wait a minute. Chad's a Nashville Flatlander, grew up bass fishing. He's a country music star and host of the Chad Brock Show. He even wrestled professionally for several years. He may be able to wrestle a 250-pound man to the floor and sing a #1 country song, but can he wrestle a 5-pound mountain trout into a net on one of the most challenging trout streams in North Georgia? That's the question.
That's a good question, too. And to help Chad out, we've asked another one of our good friends, Stephen Big T Tomasevich of Soque River Outfitters, to help us teach Chad how to find and catch those trout.
There's no doubt Big T can do that.
And throughout the day, we'll learn about the rich history of the Soque watershed, such as the Native American and settler influences, the gold fever that gripped the area in the early 1800s, and the local culture and attractions of the area. Come along with us on this episode of Wild Bearings Outdoors as we help country music artist and talk show host Chad Brock find and catch a trophy trout on the Soque River in the North Georgia mountains. Let's go catch some fish. How much fishing have you done?
Let me explain something. You put me behind a rifle.
You're good?
I'm good. You put me next to one of these things, I'm not sure which end to go.
Well, Chad, here we are on the Soque River. We're glad you're with us. Let's talk for a couple of minutes about the Soque River, kind of a little bit about it, just so you get a sense of place of where we are today. I mean, we know it's got a bunch of fish in it.
I saw earlier, yeah.
It's probably known as the premier trout stream in the state of Georgia.
Why is that?
Well, #1, you're going to find out today.
Yeah.
One reason, but another reason is very where it is.
Yeah.
It's a very historic area that it flows through, the Saute-Nakuchi kind of valley, up against the Appalachian Mountains. It's very protected, very private. There's not much of this river that's public, or at least the trout fishing area. The main thing is that it's got some really big fish in it, and people know that.
Yeah.
And most people can't get on this river like we can, so there's the desire to get on this river.
Correct. Yeah.
It's managed for trophy trout generally because we lack hard water, which is the mineralized water limestone. In Georgia and generally in the southeast, it's difficult to grow large fish, large trout specifically, because you need those minerals for prolific aquatic bug. So we supplementally feed the fish throughout this stretch, similar to a deer hunter that manages a piece of land for trophy bucks. Most of the river's private. We've got about a mile that's public. The public has access to it. Either side of that's private areas with big fish, so they tend to migrate in and out. There aren't any fences. So the public has access to some really big fishing as well.
I never looked at this as a business, but it really is.
People think of private, they think people with a lot of money. Well, this river supports a lot of the local people. It supports myself, a fly shop owner, and my family as well. So there are a lot of businesses that make a living from it.
It's beautiful. This is home for me. You know, living Blairsville. You know, going out of Blairsville most of my life, And so this area I know very well, but never really thought about what this river has done and what you can get out of this river, you know. But it's beautiful. I could sit out here all day. I'm good. I'm good.
You're going to be better.
I know.
Here shortly.
I just don't want to hook myself in the eye, you know. Okay, all right.
The big fish in here, you know, but it's a big watershed too.
Yeah.
This watershed for the Soque, from the source to where it actually dumps into the Chattahoochee River, is about 28.5 miles long, but it's an 87,000 acre watershed, about 131 square miles. Wow. You know, if you kind of get your head around that.
That's a lot.
It comes out of either national forest or wilderness areas.
Right.
And so there's no development. It comes out cold, clear,
right.
Some of the best water.
Yeah, I was wondering where it started.
Tray Mountain.
Okay.
At about 4,450 feet, plus or minus a few feet. So it starts high, and it starts in very clear, cold water coming down, which is great trout habitat. And so on the south slope of that water coming off comes down into the right fork and left fork of the Soque River, which come together right up the road here in Batesville to form the Soque River proper.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting in the water and not hurting myself. This is going to be just don't laugh.
We're the ones that fall, so
okay.
You don't have anything to worry
Well,
about.
I'm the one with the fake hips, or I probably will fall.
Well, let's go get on.
Let's go get on, absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
And come straight over top that way. And it's just a quick snap. When you feel tension, you're done. Lift it up, lean it back slightly, and then come over top. There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, you got your first one.
Got my first one.
Nice.
That's the smallest fish of the day. But he's feisty, man. Look at him. Look at that little boy. Just a nice fish.
Yeah,
not
I like
big,
that.
but a nice fishing fish.
I like that.
All right, little boy. Thank you. I think we had a great morning on the water. You know, the weather's great, the fish were biting, and Chad, with this being your first day on the river chasing trout, what's your opinion of trout fishing now?
It's a lot tougher than I will say bass fishing. It's a lot tougher than deep sea water. I learned a lot today. It's a lot harder than I expected, because you watch everything. You see things on TV, oh, I can do that. Then you come out here and you go, wow, there's a lot to it. I got a great teacher. He's like Mr. Patience over here. You know, and he's very good at what he does. And I was amazed being able to, let me show you, and he'd take it, and let me guide you here, show you how to do it.
You know what? And that's why Soque River Outfitters is so popular, because of that guy right there.
I'm telling you, it amazed me. Caught some big fish today, and I said some words I shouldn't say.
Those are the ones you lost.
They were big. I wanted more.
Talons weren't already gripped on you before that.
Yeah.
They were after that.
You never get used to that.
No.
You never jade to the take
Yeah.
of a big fish like that.
No.
It's exciting every single time.
You know, I tell you, I look at the outdoors, whether it's hunting or fishing or whatever, and I thoroughly enjoy myself.
There's a reason people like this river and want to come to this river, because the fish, because it's just a fun place to come. There's just so much history here. Been settlers and people coming in here, for the last, 500 to 600, 700 years into this valley right here. But it wasn't just the Cherokee Indians. It was the Muskogees, which were primarily made up of, the Creeks and several other nations that made up the Muskogees. But they all would meet in what we call now Soque River Valley, right below Helen, and they would trade. Even the white men, the settlers, would come and trade with them, because these people would come for hundreds of miles. It's just steeped in history, and Soque River is just, is a really, really famous area. Well, where's that name come from? Soque was a name that the Muskegans, Indian nation, gave to their people, and it meant basically raccoon people. Nacoochee was also a Muskegon word that had been Anglicized, that means bear. So raccoon bear.
I thought it was an Alan Jackson song for a while. But it does say something about it gets hotter than a
Hoochie
hoochie. Yeah, so that's where I thought it came from. I was sadly mistaken.
Legend has it that Soque and Nacoochee were two young Native Americans. Soque was a Creek or Muskegon brave. Nacoochee was a Cherokee princess. And Soque and Nacoochee fell in love and decided, we want to get married. The council said, no, you can't marry each other. They insisted they wanted to get married, and it finally ended up that some of the Muskegans took Soque to the top of Mount Yonah and tossed him off the top of it. Nacoochee was so upset and distraught, jumped off the side of the mountain and killed herself. And so that's the legend of how the name got attached to that area. And
Well, it's a big gold area too.
Yeah.
It is.
So
it is
there's
it
a lot
is-
of gold.
It is. But before that, the mound people were here. The Indian mound, which is about 20 feet high, about 50, 60 feet circular, has been there a long time. And back in 1915, it was excavated by some professional archaeologist groups, and they found like 79 burial sites in the mound. This whole area is just steeped in history all the way to the gold period that you talked about.
A lot of gold.
Just below here, about 15 miles, was the first major gold rush in the eastern half of the United States. The biggest gold now is right behind us, called the Soque River.
I think we got to go find this next place we're going to go is the Mother Lode, and it is got some amazing fish in it, and you're going to be blown away.
Y'all hooked me. No pun intended.
So Chad, your new show,
Yeah.
the Chad Brock Show,
What a name. What a concept, huh?
the Country Network, and the show is awesome. I mean, if you haven't seen Chad's show, Colonel West was on, and Neil McCoy.
Neil, and I've had Andy Griggs and Mark Will. I've had a bunch.
Tell us a little bit about kind of the general thing, how did it come together, and the general theme of your show.
The whole process started years ago, to be honest, when the national network went away. The Ralph Emery show, everybody used to love to tune in to watch Ralph Emery and who he was going to have on, and the whole 9 yards. And it was sold, and it went away. We started the network by doing something that nobody did anymore. It's playing videos. And so it went through some different hands over time, and it was bought out by a group of guys that I know very well. And they called me one day and said, hey, we just bought the network. We want you to do a show on it. Understand that you started it? And I said, yeah. We've just done the 30th episode.
Yeah, well,
and it is going great. It's filmed in Fort Worth, Texas, and in Nashville. We're conservative. We take it like that. We talk about country music. I have some very cool episodes that you have not seen yet, where I'll talk to Jeff Bates about his addiction and his testimony and things like that aren't usually talked about. I don't like to go to the normal little channels or tell me about your next song. Let's talk about what's going on in your world and how'd you get from point A to point B. And
it's great little kind of fireside chats, you know. It's very interactive and very laid back. And
I try to take what I call the Tucker Carlson technique. I ask a question and I shut up and I listen. From there, you can learn a lot about asking the next question. You let them talk, and then you can either have another question from his conversation, her conversation, or whatever. And so I try to take that kind of a process.
Well, it's really well done, and we've enjoyed it, obviously. And of course, getting to sit here with you has been amazing.
Well, we plan on doing a lot with you guys too. So there's lots of things that are happening.
You know everyone in Nashville.
Just about, yeah.
Just about. If you did have a bucket list
Yeah.
of people to interview, or a person that would say, this is my signature interview for my career, who would that be?
I had Dolly already.
Okay.
And I had Dolly's nails on top of my bald head. So that's hard to beat. It would probably be a sitting president of a conservative nature. That's who I'd like to have, because I'd like to ask them the questions that nobody else would, and see if they would answer without giving me a political type answer. Yeah. Tell me what's really going on. What are you thinking? Or that's what I really want to know. Sure. And I'd ask those things with Alan West, and I asked the tough questions to him. And we talked about kids and fatherless kids and what needs to go on in this world. Those are the kind of questions that I like to put on people.
You do a great job of it, and we have no doubt the Chad Brock Show is going to be a raging success in the future. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Baby! Whoa! He's going. Oh!
Holy cow! Did you see that? Oh my God! Oh, he snapped it. Man, you're fly fishing. Look at that. There you go. Yeah, it's a good fish.
Oh, I lost it.
Chad, you come up here and net this fish.
I'm hurrying.
If I land this fish, I'm getting a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Oh, that's a hawk. Look at that.
Right between my legs.
Right between your legs.
Yeah.
Chad, you having fun yet?
Yes, I love this.
How big was that fish, Chad?
About that big. This is sickening.
My journey today was a big brown, and I mean, we have met the match today. Beautiful fish. Look at that guy. All right, we're gonna let you go.
Check out that fish.
See you, big dog.
That's about it for this episode of Wild Bearings Outdoors. We had a great time on the Soque River here in North Georgia with country music artist Chad Brock. Chris, we caught a lot of fish today.
Boy, we did, Sam. We really got into them. It was a great day on the river. Thanks to Big T of Soque River Outfitters for guiding us on his stretch of the Soque and putting us on some big trout. And also to Chad, who made a pretty good transition from country music artist and talk show host to fly fisherman. Speaking of talk shows, don't miss Chad's brand new show on the Country Network, The Chad Brock Show, where each episode he interviews legendary country music artists, both past and present, plus special live performances.
Well, I know I'll be watching his next episode, and we hope you'll be watching the next episode of Wild Bearings Outdoors when we visit the legendary Davidson River in western North Carolina, a watershed filled with a rich history and listed by Trout Unlimited as one of the top 100 trout waters in the United States. In the meantime, we hope to see you somewhere in the great outdoors.